The disappearance of Lisa Marie Young on June the 30th, 2002, the Canada Long Weekend in Nanaimo, British Columbia, is still an open case. Lisa Marie Young was a 21-year-old Indigenous Canadian and was embarking on a new path with her life. At the time of Young's disappearance, her father was helping her move into her own apartment in northern Nanaimo, something she was excited about. Young was also preparing to start a job at a call center within 2 days of her disappearance, and considered pursuing higher education with the hopes of becoming a television sports broadcaster. On the night of June the 29th, 2002, Young left her parents' residence at approximately 11 p.m. to go to a nightclub with several friends. Her parents found it strange as Young had a busy schedule for the week. Young spent the night at a nightclub in downtown Nanaimo called Jungle, now known as Club 241, where she and several friends celebrated the birthday of their friend Hughley. After the nightclub closed at approximately 2:30 a.m. on June the 30th, 2002, one of Young's friends began a conversation with Christopher Adair, who offered them a ride to a house party in southern Nanaimo in his red Jaguar. Despite just meeting him, Young and her friends accepted the offer. The group spent an hour at the house party before moving on to a second house party. At the second house party, Young became hungry and could not find anything to eat because she was a vegetarian. Adair offered to take her to a nearby sandwich shop, which Young accepted. The last time Young was seen around 3 a.m. where she was leaving the house party was with Adair. Not long after Young left the party, Hughley received a phone call from her. She told him Adair did not take her to a fast food restaurant, nor did drop her off at home, but instead she was sitting in his car in a driveway, and Adair would not let her leave. The final time Young contacted Hughley was at 4:30 a.m. when she sent him a text message reading, "Come and get me. They won't let me leave." Young's final phone signals were from the Departure Bay area of Nanaimo. Family members of Young have never heard anything about her cell phone being traced down and do not know what happened to it. On June the 30th, 2002, Young's parents failed to hear from her. At first they thought it was possible Young was too busy to answer her cell phone, but grew concerned when Young's former roommate visited to ask of Young's whereabouts. After calling every phone number in her phone book, Young's parents contacted the RCMP detachment in Nanaimo. In the beginning, Young's parents were told to call when she had been missing for 48 hours. However, an RCMP officer came over to the Young's household later that evening to ask questions and get Young's pictures. A few days later, the RCMP told Young's parents that her disappearance was being investigated by their Serious Crimes Unit. Although Young has never been found, her disappearance is being investigated as a homicide. Police quickly concluded that foul play was likely involved after Young left a house party in the Cathars Lake area, and subsequently several searches were conducted in remote areas in and near Nanaimo, revealing nothing. Each year since 2003, Young's loved ones and supporters have gathered on or around June 30th for a walk for Lisa, beginning at the Nanaimo RCMP detachment and marching through the streets of downtown Nanaimo to ensure her disappearance remains in the public eye. Following a one-year vigil held for Young in 2003, Lisa's mother was contacted by Shamania's psychic Christine Brandt. Based on the information provided by Brandt, Young's family asked Terry Tom and Andrew Jackson, both certified divers from Young's West Coast Telo-Aquat Band, to search the reservoirs at Clory Dam Park, located between Nanaimo Lakes and Hareswood Mines Road. A private dive team conducted a suspicious seek at the park on July the 25th, 2003, and nothing came of this either. In 2020 December, Nanaimo RCMP conducted searches related to the cause at 2 locations in Nanaimo, as well as part of Moral Nature Sanctuary. One of the locations was a residential property at 827 Nanaimo Lakes Road, which is adjacent to Moral Sanctuary and less than 200 meters from Collier's Dam Upper Reservoir. In March 2021, Nanaimo Mayor Leonard Krug officially proclaimed June 26th as Justice for Lisa Marie Young Day and June 30th as Lights On for Lisa, when people are encouraged to participate by leaving porch lights on to recognize Young's disappearance. In June 2021, the Nanaimo RCMP hosted a press conference on the front steps to provide an update on the status of the Lisa Marie Young missing persons investigation. RCMP Corporal Marcus Muntener, current co-lead investigator on the case, reported that based on new and historical information, numerous searches for Young have taken place in the last year, utilizing ground-penetrating radar and a police dog, and he said additional searches are at undisclosed locations were planned. There have been no arrests made in connection to Young's disappearance, despite police having received 15,000 documents and hundreds of witnesses in Young's file. It's been really hard on the family, said her aunt Carol Frank. We just want people to not forget Lisa and other missing people around us, Frank continued. It might trigger someone's memory or somebody to come forward. They said that they are still following leads, Frank said. It brought comfort to my dad because he believes that they weren't doing anything. It's many years later, and that's a really long time to not have your loved one and to not have answers, Hall said. It's making people realize that there is an epidemic of missing and murdered women and girls in Canada. Hall said, we should all care as a community. She said she hopes bringing more awareness about Young's case will help other missing people. Lisa Marie Young was born on May the 5th, 1981 in Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada, and was 21 years old when she went missing. She was 5 feet 4 inches tall, approximately 163 centimeters. Lisa Marie Young was the oldest child and only daughter of Don Young and Marlene Joanne Martin. She has 2 younger brothers, Brian and Robin. Martin was a member of the Taloquet First Nation on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and both of her parents attended Kakawa's residential school on nearby Mears Island. Young was close with her family. Martin described her as an independent woman who was a hard worker with a hard head and had inner strength that was totally awesome. Dallas Hooley, an acquaintance of Young, was the last person to hear from her, described Young as outgoing, confident, bubbly, and said she was somebody you noticed right away at a party or a gathering or whatever it was. She just had a light about her. Alison Crow, a friend of Young's, has since produced and released a song titled Lisa's Song in memory of Young. Young's mother experienced health complications after Young vanished before Martin passed away on June the 21st, 2017. She had been taking dialysis, suffered from hypertension, and was on a waiting list for a kidney transplant. Martin's family members believe the cause of her deteriorating health was from the stress of not knowing what happened to her daughter. Martin's sister, Carol Frank, revealed that Martin tried to hide her and Young's First Nations ancestry from the public out of fear that Young would be assumed to be a sex worker, an alcohol or drug addict, or living on the streets. No arrests were ever made after Lisa went missing, and her case remains unsolved. In February 2022, an anonymous American donor offered a US $50,000 reward for information that leads investigators to the location of Young's remains. RCMP Constable Haley Pinfold stated that investigators are hoping that this might be enough to encourage some of the people that could bring these pieces forward, the final ones that we need. And if any of you have any information on this case, please contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477.